Chapter 746. A Duckberg Reunion. It starts at the estate. We were watching one of our favorite shows, DuckTales. Donald, this is my favorite show. Me, it's really funny how your nephews always trounce the bad guys. But let me tell you, Donald, those dumb Beagle boys just never learn. Donald, no they sure don't. We laughed. Mutuo, it seems the Beagle boys have gone into separate locations. Me, they sure have. But all bad guys never take a hint. Then the doorbell rang. Eddie, I'll get that. Eddie went to the door and answered it. Steve's mom. Hello, I'm Steve's mom. Chuck's dad, and I'm Chuck's dad. We need to speak with your friend, Ed. Eddie, about what? Steve's mom, about him physically assaulting our sons. Eddie, come on in and talk to him. They came in and I went up to them. Chuck's dad, JD. Knudsen of Team Loud Phoenix Storm. It's an honor. Me, you too. Are you Chuck and Steve's parents? Steve's mom, we certainly are. We've heard so much about your adventures and you are amazing at what you do. Me, we get that a lot. Now I take it that this is what Ed did to your sons, and for that I apologize for what he did. But there is a reason why he did it. Let him explain. Ed, I know you guys hate me for hurting your sons, but there was a reason for it. I would not stand by and let them hurt Carly Beth Caldwell. Eddie, to Ed Lumpy, you are not helping the situation right now. Steve's mom, look, we don't have time to watch you two argue with each other. Bottom line is, you slammed tables on our sons, you threw food at them, and then you beat them to a pulp. Ed, like I give a fuck. Chuck's dad, we're not here to know what you give a fuck about. But you should be in jail for that shit. Sarah, hey. Leave my big brother alone. Maria, look, if we give you footage of what your sons did to Carly Beth, will you believe us? Chuck's dad, all right. We showed them footage from a special point of view taken from 1 year ago before Carly Beth first found the mask. It showed that Chuck and Steve at the Halloween party and they put a worm in Carly Beth's sandwich when she wasn't looking and she found it, and because of them everyone laughed at her and completely humiliated her. Me, so you see, Chuck and Steve have been bullying Carly Beth Caldwell for a long time and we had to teach them a major lesson they would never forget. But we never intended for this to happen. We only wanted them to see the error of their ways by pelting them with food. Not maiming them. Chuck's dad, oh gosh. We had no idea our sons were doing that. Steve's mom, we are extremely sorry for wrongly accusing you. Ed, well, you weren't totally in the wrong. We never meant to cause any property damage. Chuck's dad, we understand. We had no idea that they were hurting Carly Beth. We've known Carly Beth since she was a little girl, but we had no idea they were doing this to her. Steve's mom, how long has this bullying been going on? Sabrina M, I can answer that, Mrs. Boswell. This bullying went on for 7 years. They enjoyed scaring her with deadly pranks. Sabrina put in a tape and it was us catching the pranks in motion from Carly Beth's point of view. They did all kinds of horrible and unspeakable pranks to her and scared the living shit out of Carly Beth, all for their own sadistic pleasure and amusement. Me, there you have it, Mr. Green and Mrs. Boswell. I'm so sorry we beat your sons up. Mr. Green, no, you had every right to do so. Now we understand that your actions were justified. Mrs. Boswell, we will make sure that our sons get what's coming to them. Thank you all for showing us what monsters they have become. Mr. Green, now we know that these matters cannot be overlooked. Thank you, JD. Me, you're welcome, Mr. Green. If there is anything we can do to help you out, you let us know. Mr. Green, well, we want Carly Beth to testify at their trial and the true charges our sons will be facing. Me, if that is what you want, then it'll be done. And if you want, we can have Ed and Sabrina testify as well. Sabrina, I'll do it. I want those jerks to pay big time. Ed, me too. Me, If Chuck and Steve are with you, tell them that they have been served. See them in court. Mr. Green, will do. They left. The trial was tomorrow. Chuck's dad, is this your idea of a joke, young man? Chuck, does it look like we're laughing? Steve's mom, Steve, I know you wouldn't bully Carly Beth without a good reason. But I don't know what's going on with you two. Steve, I'll tell you what's going on. Me and Chuck bullied Carly Beth. Just like she and Sabrina said. His mom gasps, and now, Team Loud Phoenix Storm is gonna try and get us thrown in jail forever. Chuck's dad, and just where do you two think you're going? Chuck, smirks somewhere. Team Loud Phoenix Storm will never find us. If you two still care about us, then you won't try and go after us. With that, Chuck and Steve exited the house, never to be seen by the neighborhood ever again. We went back to watching DuckTales. We were learning the full extent of the crimes and abilities of the Beagle Boys. The Beagle Boys made their first appearance in the 10-page story The Terror of the Beagle Boys, WDC number 134, that was first published in November 1951. Although the Beagle Boys are only shown very briefly on the last page of this story, it is implied that Scrooge has known about them for a long time. The first story to feature the Beagle Boys in a major role is Only a Poor Old Man from March 1952, which serves as a template for virtually all future Beagle Boys appearances, and establishes them as a serious threat to steal Scrooge's fortune. The Beagle Boys are usually depicted as a gang of about 6 to 10 members, who are similar in appearance and personality, and without an established leader. However, sometimes the Beagle Boys are led by their grandfather, Blackheart Beagle, prison number 186 to 802. The Blackheart character originates from two characters created by Carl Barks, Blackheart Beagle, a riverboat pirate from the Fantastic River Race, and Grandpa Beagle, who appeared in The Money Well. Don Rosa later combined the character into one in chapters 10 and 11 of The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck. According to Rosa, Blackheart Beagle semi-retired in 1947, following a failed attempt at robbing Scrooge's money bin. According to Don Rosa's Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck, Scrooge first met the Beagle Boys in his Mississippi riverboat days, circa 1880. Those Beagle Boys included Blackheart Beagle and his 3 sons. Scrooge first met the modern Beagle Boys during Christmas 1947, which was when he first met his grandnephews Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and met his nephew Donald for the second time. Since then, the Beagle Boys have been a constant threat to Scrooge's huge money bin. The 3 most common numbers on Beagle Boys' prison tags are 176 to 167, 176 to 671, and 176 to 176. In fact, no digits other than 1, 6, or 7 appeared on their prison ID tags. Carl Barks used to include the words Beagle Boys Inc. on their shirts under their numbers, which was later deleted. According to one of Don Rosa's stories, the Beagle Boys have been known by their prison numbers since their childhood, and they don't even know their real names themselves. Their parents do know their real names, but demand a bribe from their sons to let them know. Also, according to that story, Blackheart Beagle doesn't remember his sons' names. In the Barks/Rosa universe, the Beagle Boys have almost identical personalities, but one of the members, 176 to 167, is known to be very fond of prunes, a weakness that proves to be the Beagle Boys' downfall in some stories. The Beagle Boys usually operate on their own, but collaborated with Magica to spell in the 1963 Barks story Isle of the Golden Geese, and again in the 1997 Don Rosa story A Little Something Special, where they also teamed up with Flintheart Glomgold. In all comics, the individual Beagle Boys are referred to by their prison numbers, indicated on the tags seen on the chests of their distinctive orange or red shirts. The original depictions by Barks in American comics always showed the Beagle Boys with orange shirts. European comics recolored these same Barks drawings to show Beagle Boys in red shirts. Subsequent European comic depictions of the Beagle Boys by artists other than Barks also showed them in red shirts, as did the DuckTales cartoons. In later years, they appeared in the comics as a trio, some combination of the most common numbers with 176 to 167, 176 to 671 and 176 to 761, plus cousins and other relatives of various talents as spin-off characters. They live in a small tumble-down hideout in Duckberg. In 1980s American-produced stories, their pet cat Ratty often lived there as well. In the Italian stories, they are sometimes accompanied by their pet dachshund, 64, who shares their criminal mindset, but it is often overcome with 64's constant, voracious appetite. Sometimes they team up with other villains such as Magica Dispel, Black Pete, Mad Madam Mim, or hire out their services to Flintheart Glomgold or John D. Rocker Duck. During these occasions they continue to operate out of their own interests rather than their employers. The Beagle Boys make cameos in the Darkwing Duck episode in Like Blunt, where they are among the villains bidding on a list of S.H.U.S.H's secret agents. Many other authors use a character purely based on the Moneywell version as the Beagle Boys' grandfather. In particular, Italian authors use a Grandpa Beagle who differs from Blackheart in being much skinnier and constantly smoking a pipe. Sometimes they antagonize Supergoof, Mickey Mouse, or some other characters from Walt Disney's comic books. Although the characters are obviously based on dogs, they in no way resemble the actual beagle breed. Big Time. Big Time is the second-in-command and usual leader of the group in absence of Ma Beagle, and is distinguished by being rather short for someone with the word big in his name. He is extremely hot-tempered and crooked, and often has to correct his companions whenever they get something wrong and mishear his directions. In the Beagle family, he seems to only take orders from Ma Beagle herself. His prison number is usually shown as 167 to 671. However, in Scroogerello his number says 167 to 617, and he mentions his first wish would to be taller. Burger. As his name suggests, Burger has a large appetite, although it is for more than just hamburgers. He also isn't very bright. Incidentally, his comic counterpart, who had the second placard number, is known for a special appreciation for prunes and his curious culinary tastes, i.e. ketchup on ice cream or peanut butter pizza with gravy. Burger was inspired by the Beagle Boy who is often portrayed enjoying prunes, and originated from the Carl Barks story The Giant Robot Robbers, and has a slightly different facial expression than the other beagles. The not-too-bright Burger is named for his habit of talking about food, regardless of whether or not any of the others are actually talking about it themselves. He is also prone to random hunger tantrums. Due to his appetite, he has even taken a bite out of his license plate, which reads 761-176. Bouncer. Designated with the placard number of 716-167, Bouncer usually serves as the muscle of the group. Of the regularly recurring DuckTales Beagles, Bouncer bears the most physical resemblance to the standard Beagle Boy seen in the original comics, except that he has one tooth missing. Baggy. Designated with the placard number of 617-716, Baggy, as his name suggests, wears baggy, loose-fitting clothes and often has a dopey grin on his face. His plate is also askew with one of the corners bent over. Out of all the Beagle Boys, Baggy is probably the least intelligent. Baggy has lots of trouble communicating what he means to say and has a habit of stumbling over his words and saying the wrong things, which make it hard for his brothers to understand him. This doesn't seem to impede his musical talent, however, and in Beaglemania Baggy plays the keyboard. Bank Job. Bank Job is physically the strongest and overall largest of the DuckTales Beagles, being about the same size as Launchpad McQuack. He is distinguishable by his large, Jay Leno-esque chin, and originally has the placard number of 671 to 167. He is the third in command of the Beagle Boys, playing the leader of the group whenever Big Time is absent. However, his methods usually rely less on brains and more on brawn and impulsiveness. Bank Job appears to be brave and reckless, as seen in time teasers when he shoots directly at a cop. However, part of this could just be for show, as he is obviously very afraid when he encounters the pirates later in the episode. Throughout the series, bank job has different numbers included. In the episode Hero for Hire, his number says 614 to 167, and in some others his number is 618 to 167. Babyface. Designated with the placard number of 176 to 167, Babyface is the youngest of the Beagle Boys, in both appearance and a number of mannerisms. He is slightly taller than Big Time, and is considerably rounder in stature. He has a clean-shaven face and dresses much like a little kid with a distinctive propeller hat worn backwards, hence his name. His shirt also appears to be somewhat small for him, as his belly is constantly exposed. The cuffs of his sleeves are white and folded back, and he doesn't wear gloves, making his outfit unique from the rest of his brothers. He also has 2 strands of hair on his head. Babyface is also very enthusiastic and adamant when it comes to breaking into Scrooge's money bin. In time teasers, for example, he is so excited to get his hands on the time teaser, he tries to grab it and breaks it. Babyface also seems to be pretty clumsy, often falling or tripping over things. Despite all this, he is one of the smarter of the Beagle Boys and also seems to be rather cheeky, as in time teasers he comments that Bank Job actually never has brilliant ideas, and he isn't afraid to talk back to others, like Magica Dispel and send in the clones. Babyface disappeared from the series after the Super DuckTales serial, but continued to occasionally appear in DuckTales comic book stories, most notably in the story Webby's Field Trip, published in the February 1993 issue of Disney Adventures. In that story, Babyface, who is drawn with a strangely different design, is sent by Big Time to infiltrate Webby Vanderquack's class under the guise of a new student named BB, because Webby's class is taking a field trip to Scrooge's money bin later in the week. Babyface actually ends up becoming friends with Webby, eventually finding out that she suggested to Scrooge that her class take a field trip to his money bin. When Webby feels guilty about the Beagle Boys breaking in during the field trip, Babyface, feeling sorry for her, actually rebels against his brothers and helps Webby stop them. However, due to helping the Beagles in the first place, Babyface still goes to jail along with them, and it is unclear if his apparent reform was permanent. Bugle. Designated with the placard number of 671 to 761, Bugle is a tall, lanky beagle with a love of music, particularly jazz and disco, and often speaks in rhyme. He can be identified by the sunglasses he wears in front of his typical mask, as well as his beatnik hat and sandals. His clothes are also rather long and loose-fitting. He also has 2 or 3 strands of hair on his head. Bugle is usually seen working alongside Bank Job and Babyface. One time when the Beagle Boys were spying on an opening of Scrooge McDuck's new bank in order to check for any weaknesses in security, the alarm was set off, to the annoyance of everyone present, including the Beagle Boys. However, Bugle remarked he actually likes the tempo of the alarm sirens because it has a jazzy rhythm. Megabyte. The only Beagle Boy whose name doesn't start with a B, Megabyte is one of the more minor Beagle Boys. He is arguably the smartest of them, since he's been to college and is able to program and reprogram computers. He has the placard number of the square root of 6 and 716 and 6. He first appears in the DuckTales episode Full Metal Duck, Part 3 of the 5-part serial Super DuckTales. Here, Ma Beagle calls him to make a remote to control Gizmo Duck's suit, so he will turn against Scrooge McDuck and his family. Despite his high intelligence, he is not without moments of stupidity, as when Huey, Dewey, and Louie freak Gizmo Duck by stealing Megabyte's remote and swapping it with an identical one. Megabyte tries to thwart the pair by controlling Gizmo Duck, only to find the remote only controls a Gizmo Duck toy, to which Megabyte remarks, "What did he do? Shrink in the wash?" While failing to realize his sabotage plans had been sabotaged. Bummer. With the placard number of 117 to 671, Bummer looks a lot like Bank Job in that he has a similar jawline and is very large in size. He is more intelligent than most of the other Beagles, and is a skilled pilot with his own airplane. Backwoods. The only beagle who wears a full mustache, Backwoods has the placard number 167 to 761. He has a strong Canadian accent and is the twin brother of Binky Beagle and Bacon Beagle. The fact that he actually believes this is true could make him the dumbest of all the Beagle Boys. Backwoods wears a Davy Crockett-like trapper's outfit as opposed to the normal jailhouse outfit of the Beagle Boys. He is also the only person who is able to understand Bacon Beagle. As mentioned by Glomgold in Duck a Mountain High, Backwoods and his twin brothers are brothers of Duckberg's Beagle Boys. Binky. Binky is probably the only Beagle Boy who is never seen speaking. He is roughly the same size as Baggy Beagle, wears a lumberjack outfit and has a full beard. He lives with Backwoods and Bacon Beagle in the Duckham Mountains. His placard number is covered by his beard. Bacon. Bacon is, in fact, a pet pig, hence his name. When Glomgold asked how he could be a Beagle Boy, Backwoods explains that Bacon had a bad case of the swine flu as a child. Bacon cannot speak, but his oinks and grunts are, instead, translated by Backwoods Beagle. His number reads 167. Baritone. A cousin of the Beagle Boys, Baritone appeared in the Disney Adventures comic story Mrs. Beakley's Secret Love. He has mutton chops and a mustache and possesses the ability to mimic anyone's voice. In the story, he falls in love with Mrs. Beakley and sends her many gifts while his cousins want him to use his impression of Scrooge to help them break the new voice lock on Scrooge's money bin. When he finally does help them break in and they are caught and arrested, Baritone vows to give up crime and become a good citizen upon finishing his prison sentence. Bullseye. Bullseye is one of the many Beagle Boys trying to rob Scrooge's bin in part 1 of the 4-episode serial Catch as Cash Can. He is among the Beagles who manage to reach the door of the bin, but he gets hit by a giant cannonball before he can enter the bin itself. Bombshell. Bombshell is one of the Beagle Boys' brothers and Ma Beagle's son, whose picture can be seen on the TV in the Beagle Boys' hideout in the episode Beaglemania. Ma Beagle seems to favor him over the other Beagles. He appears to be one of Ma's older children, and his clothes suggest he's involved in warfare or the military. His placard number is 677 to 767. Bonaparte. One of the Blue Blood Beagles who appear in The Status Seekers, Bonaparte and his brothers reside in the posh minimum security club-fed penitentiary prison. They assist Charles Upstart III in seeking out the mask of Kyofulia Lu. He resembles Big Time, and is also very short. His name is a reference to Napoleon Bonaparte, who was known for being of short stature. In addition, he has the same number on his placard as Big Time. Bicep. One of the Blue Blood Beagles who appear in The Status Seekers, Bicep, and his brothers reside in the posh minimum security club-fed penitentiary prison. They assist Charles Upstart III in seeking out the mask of Kyofulia Lu. He resembles Bouncer, and even carries his number on the small placard. Béarnais. One of the Blue Blood Beagles who appear in The Status Seekers, Béarnais, and his brothers reside in the posh minimum security club-fed penitentiary prison. They assist Charles Upstart III in seeking out the mask of Kyofulia Lu. He resembles Burger, and has his number as well. Ma Beagle. Ma Beagle always bails out her sons by providing cakes or other goods with means of breaking out of prison hidden inside. She's far more competent than her children, but even then tends to fail because Scrooge McDuck and the nephews always find a way to outwit the Beagle Boys. An interesting note regarding Ma Beagle is that whenever she appeared in the first season, she was often the only Beagle to escape successfully. This trait notably seems to disappear in the later seasons. In the second season premiere, Time is Money, it is implied that she was eventually arrested. When Big Time disguises himself as an elderly woman, Burger initially mistakes him for Ma, saying she must have broke out of jail. Additionally, 2 episodes in the show's later seasons, The Bride Wore Stripes and New Gizmo Kids on the Block, end with Ma Beagle being arrested and going to jail. Boy, there's so many of them. Then we got a call on our airport landing frequency. It was Launchpad. Launchpad, Team Loud Phoenix Storm Tower. Team Loud Phoenix Storm Tower, this is McDuck Transport 13. requesting permission to land. Over. Lana, that's launch pad. Me, it sure is. We've never had a landing at the estate before. I pressed a button and an airport radio came out. Me, Team Loud Phoenix Storm to 13, you have permission to land. Hangar 1. Over. Launch pad, roger that. The jet flew over us and we went to the air traffic control tower at our estate and we saw Launchpad flying the McDuck plane and he had the whole of McDuck's fortune in the McDuck estate with him and he placed them next to the estate and the plane landed in our hangar. We went to see them. In the plane we saw Scrooge McDuck and his nephews Huey, Dewey, and Louie and surrogate niece Webby Vendor Quack. Huey, Dewey, Louie, Uncle Donald. Donald, good to see you boys again. Huey, we missed you so much Uncle Donald. Donald, I missed you guys too. Scrooge McDuck, Scottish accent, ACH, Donald it's great to see you. Donald, you too Scrooge. Me, Scrooge McDuck. It's such an honor to meet you in person. Scrooge McDuck, you too JD. We were told so much about all your adventures lad. Me, I'm not surprised. Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Webby right? Huey, that's right. It's awesome to meet you JD. My favorite adventure was when you went and destroyed Narissa. Dewey, my favorite is when you faced all the demon sorcerers and the Dark Hand. Louie, my favorite was when you all helped destroy Xehanort. Webby, and my favorite was when you all destroyed Godzilla in Japan and New York. Me, those were some of our most action-packed adventures. Scrooge McDuck, they were lad. I like all your adventures. Me, we go on all kinds of awesome adventures. So I take it you moved the entirety of your estate and your fortune here right? Scrooge McDuck, lad. I wanted to move here for protection under you guys. Me, you made the right choice Mr. McDuck. Scrooge, call me Scrooge JD. Me, sorry. I take it the Beagle Boys just won't leave you alone and tried repeatedly to swipe your fortune. Scrooge, how did you know? Me, call it intuition. Now we can all make sure that the Beagle Boys never return and take your fortune ever again. We're gonna team up and take them down. Nico, are we gonna kill the Beagle Boys? Me, no. We're gonna throw half of them into the null void for all eternity and the other half will go into the Uranus prison. Ben, that's a great idea JD. Me, let's go see where they all are at. We went to the computer and we saw on the satellite scanners that all of the Beagle Boys were coming towards us. Me, they're on their way here guys. We got a fight on our hands. Time for action. Sunstreaker, those dumbasses won't know what hit em. Scrooge, let's get those clods. We went out to face them. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. We were outside and we saw a helicopter heading right at us. It was being piloted by Ma Beagle. Big time. Evil laughter. Your fortune will be all ours McDuck. Me, not if we have anything to say about it dog breath. I fired an energy blast at the helicopter and it hit it and it exploded. Crab boo-hoo-iam. The Beagle Boys fell to the ground and they were burned in places. They stood up and saw a salesman stand. Swindle, disguised as a salesman to bait the Beagle Boys free jawbreakers. Get your free jawbreakers here. Big time. Free jawbreakers? Oh boy. They went at the stand and they grabbed the jawbreakers and then they saw that the jawbreakers had fuses in them. They were bombs. The jawbreaker bombs exploded in their faces. Crab. The explosions blew them back. Big time. Team Loud Phoenix Storm? Scrooge is now working with you? Me, no you flea bag. He came to us for our protection. As long as there are bad guys out to ruin him, we won't let them get to his fortune. And now it's time for us to send you all back to prison where you belong. Big time. We'll bust out like we did before. Me, not this time. Nico, to the Beagle Boys before we fight, you can finish those jawbreakers. You should at least get to eat a last meal. Bonaparte, thank you. They ate real jawbreakers. Nico, Beagle Boys, you all have failed this world. Bank job, we're gonna rip you apart in a bunch of pieces and then we're gonna take those pieces and rip them apart into even more pieces. Me, I've heard that one before. Let's get them. We all went at them and it was a vicious and brutal fight. We all punched and kicked all the Beagle Boys at a ferocious and vicious level. Pow. Viv. Crack. BLAM. Vam. KROW. Smash. Thwack BLAM smash zonk crack. Bang BOOF. Zonk slam kato. Think of how Ashi slaughtered an entire army all by herself in Samurai Jack. It was an extremely savage and merciless onslaught. Faces were being broken, blood was splattering all over the place, teeth were flying and bones were being broken. One by one we pulverized and mercilessly thrashed all of the Beagle Boys and took them down until it was only Ma Beagle that was standing. Her sons were all knocked out and half of them were sent into the Null Void and the rest were sent to the Uranus prison. Me, now it's just you and us Ma Beagle. Ma Beagle was petrified with fear. She got a powerful glimpse of how we mercilessly took down her whole gang and how we brought them to their knees without so much as breaking a sweat. We went at her and I punched her in the face and knocked out some of her teeth. Nico punched her in the stomach, Vince kicked her in the back of her head and Carol fired a powerful blast of gravity lightning and it hit her and exploded. Lori, you literally give all loving mothers everywhere a really bad name. Lori punched Ma Beagle in the face and she then had her butt right in her face. Lori, fire in the hole. Lori farted in Ma Beagle's face at point blank range. Cray off Ma Beagle was coughing and vomiting her guts out. Lori's farts smelled so horrible that they nearly killed Ma. Me, Lori's farts would definitely be called a weapon of mass destruction. Luan, or in this case a weapon of ass destruction. Laughs to rimshot. We all laughed at Luan's funny joke. Me, laughs, that was so funny. But her farts would be banned by the Geneva Convention Biochemical Weapon Protocol of 1925. We laugh hysterically. Eddie, laughs hysterically, that was so funny and hilarious. Laughs, call a doctor. Laughs. Lori, that was literally amusing. But it would be true. Lenny punched Ma with devastating force in the face. Luna and Sam fired blasts of fire and water and they burned and soaked her. Luan threw an El Mongo stink bomb and it splattered into her face and exploded. The stench from the El Mongo stink bomb made Ma Beagle smell worse than Ed's feet. Me, ugh. Geez Ed. Ed, something smells good. Eddie, shut up Ed. Me, hey Ma Beagle. You want to hear the most horrifying sound ever? Ma, what is it? I put on earmuffs and pressed the palm of my right hand and my nails turned into razor-sharp claws and I rolled in a blackboard. Lori, uh-oh. Cover your ears everyone. Everyone did so. I scratched the chalkboard and it made the most horrifying, most raucous sound ever known to man. Ma Beagle screamed in excruciating pain as her eardrums were bleeding. Sid punched Ma Beagle and then she did a tiger roar and the gang of cats that normally attack the Casagrandes on a daily basis appeared and mauled Ma Beagle at a ferocious level. Ronnie Ann, Sid, that was so awesome. I didn't know you could do tiger roars. Sid, when you know a lot about animals you know how to do their calls. Me, that's awesome Sid. Naz, here's a sound that will ruin her. Naz took a deep breath and she started yodeling. Naz, yodeling. Yodle 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 I yodle 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 I yodle. Naz's yodeling made Ed crack and he shattered. It also made some of the windows shatter into 1,000 pieces. Me, nice lungs Naz. Kevin, I said the exact same thing, man. Me? Funny. Let's finish her with our combos and final smashes. Mutuo, I'm going to enjoy this. Animatron Cyber Key Power. The Animatron Cyber Planet Key went into his device and it enhanced his powers and psychic abilities. Swindle, let's steal all their money. Cyber Key Power. The Earth Cyber Planet Key went into his gyro gun and he was in his FMC XR311 mode. Mutuo and Swindle, Rapid Fire Psychic Storm. Mutuo fired numerous psychic energy balls and Swindle fired his gyro gun. They hit Mob Eagle and exploded all over the place with incredible power. Goofy, let's get him. Giganteon Cyber Key Power. Ahayuk. The Giganteon Cyber Planet Key went into Goofy's device and it grew his shield to as big as a car. Sunstreaker, Showtime. Cyber Key Power. The Earth Cyber Planet Key went into his back and it enhanced his Electron Blaster. Goofy and Sunstreaker, Electron Grind Slam. Goofy and Sunstreaker were sliding on Goofy's shield like a sled disc and Sunstreaker fired numerous blasts from his Electron Blaster and they hit Mob Eagle as they slid toward her at a phenomenal speed and they slammed into her with incredible power. Cross. Sarah, let's get these stupid freaks. Mammoth Mouth Chomp. Sarah went at Mob Eagle and she opened her huge mouth and bit Mob Eagle in her stomach with incredible force. Crackomp. Mob Eagle. Donald, this is for stealing from my uncle. Angry Slam Storm Surprise. Donald Duck then went at Mob Eagle and he was viciously pulverizing her with numerous objects. Safes, anvils, bottles, refrigerators, pots, pans, etc., etc. Me, geez. He's hitting her with everything but the kitchen sink. Luan, that gag is way too corny. Me, well, Donald Duck was created back in 1934. That phrase was made during World War II. Luan, I didn't know that. Mob Eagle couldn't sink so low. Laughs, get it? Me, laughs, that was a good one, Luan. Donald, now for the grand finale. Huey, let us help Uncle Donald. Webby, me too. Donald, let's get her. Donald had a powerful ball of energy and elemental magic ready. Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Webby had balls of fire, water, wind and earth energy ready. Donald, Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Webby, Duck Elemental Firestorm Force. They fired their blasts and the blasts converged and fired as a deadly laser and it slammed into Mob Eagle and exploded with incredible power. Mob Eagle was beaten and defeated. Me, it's over, Mob Eagle. It's time for you to go away forever. I sent Mob Eagle into the Venus prison for all eternity. The Beagle Boys were done forever. During the battle, Nico caught a Rampardos and a Shieldon. And Rhino caught a Rehorn. Donald Duck, to the viewers, never mess with the McDuck clan or you will be asking for trouble. We went back into the estate. But unfortunately Maria got some bad news from Carly Beth. Maria, are you fucking kidding me right now? Chuck and Steve are on the run. Carly Beth, when I find those two I will break their fucking necks. Me, now calm down, Carly Beth. The FBI will handle this and so will my friend John Walsh. Nico, the host of America's Most Wanted? Me, yep. I brought some of America's most wanted and most dangerous criminals in for him and the FBI. Lincoln, so that's how the FBI knows you after we brought in Kane Torres. Me, yep. But we will find them and bring them in. They can run but they can't hide. My eyes glowed red with righteous fury. Scrooge McDuck was now under our protection and the hunt for Chuck Green and Steve Boswell was on. The end. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Another fanfiction complete. The Beagle Boys on DuckTales were one of the most notorious gangs of villains made by Disney in 1987. They were both funny and stupid. But like all bad guys, they get what's coming to them in the end. I made this chapter include elements of the episode of Ed, Edd and Eddy Ed. Pass it on, and the scene from Samurai Jack where Ashi slaughtered an entire army of bad guys all by herself. That was an epic scene. Nico-chan11 gave me the ideas for this one. Thanks man, as usual. Let me know what you all think. See you all next time.